Now, before we begin, the answer to the trivia. Question: The Deliverance, 2024, attempts to address several social issues. Name two of these themes. Answer: generational trauma and racial tension. Today's recommended flick is The Deliverance. I'm giving it a personal score of 7 out of 10, even though it's only got a recommendation level of 4 out of 10. It's on my hit list, and I do recommend you give it a watch. I understand why some people were turned off by it, though. Let's dive into why that might be. When I first heard about The Deliverance, I was genuinely excited. Having followed the eerie and unsettling story of the Gary, Indiana house, and watched the documentary Demon House by Zach Bagans, I was really curious to see how this creepy tale would translate to the big screen. The original story had all the makings of a truly terrifying experience. Real-life horror, paranormal activity, and an overall unsettling atmosphere. So with pretty high hopes, I sat down to watch the film, but as the credits rolled, I found myself feeling conflicted about what I had just seen. Let's start with the good stuff. The cast is strong, no doubt about it. Andra Day and Glenn Close deliver compelling performances that really ground the movie in a sense of emotional reality. Day, in particular, brings a raw vulnerability to her role that adds a lot of depth to the horror unfolding around her. And Glenn Close, well, she's always a powerhouse, and here she plays a tormented, complex character that helps elevate the material. These performances are a big part of why I'm giving the movie a higher personal rating than the general consensus. But the movie doesn't just lean on its cast. The Deliverance tries to dig into some pretty heavy themes like generational trauma, family dysfunction, and the intersection of faith and race. These are serious issues, and when horror movies tackle topics like these, well, it can really transform the genre into something deeper. The idea of using horror to explore social issues is ambitious, and I appreciate that the filmmakers aim to bring more to the table than just the usual jump scares and gore. This layering of social commentary within a horror framework is what sets The Deliverance apart from your average horror flick. At least in theory. Visually, the movie has its moments. There are some scenes where the imagery is genuinely disturbing and really helps to ramp up the horror. The director plays with a mix of subtle visual cues and more overtly terrifying images to keep you on edge. Some of these sequences are beautifully shot, with lighting and camera angles that create a thick, tense atmosphere. In these moments, it feels like the film is about to really hit its stride, but here's where things start to go downhill. Despite its strong points, The Deliverance has a few significant weaknesses that hold it back from being as good as it could have been. The biggest issue is that the film relies too much on horror clichés. As a horror fan, it was disappointing to see the movie fall back on the same old tropes. Jump scares, creepy children, flickering lights. These are all things we've seen a million times before. While these elements can work when used sparingly, The Deliverance uses them too much, which makes parts of the film feel predictable and unoriginal. For a story with such a unique and terrifying real-life basis, it's frustrating to see it reduced to a collection of tired horror tactics. The movie also struggles with its tone. It tries to balance serious themes with the demands of the horror genre, but it doesn't always succeed. There are times when the film's attempts to tackle heavy social issues feel out of place with the more traditional horror scenes. This clash of tones sometimes results in moments that come off as unintentionally funny, which undercuts both the horror and the serious themes the movie is trying to explore. The tone veers from serious drama to almost campy horror, and it's jarring for the viewer, making it tough to fully immerse yourself in the story. Perhaps the biggest flaw, though, is the movie's unfocused narrative. It tries to juggle too many ideas, which leads to a scattered storyline that doesn't fully develop its characters or themes. While the social commentary is a noble attempt, It often feels tacked on, rather than seamlessly integrated into the story. As a result, the movie feels like it's trying to do too much at once and ends up not doing any of it particularly well. The characters, despite the best efforts of the actors, often feel underdeveloped, and their motivations can be unclear. This lack of focus makes it hard to connect with the characters and really care about what's happening to them. The pacing of the film adds to this narrative disarray. There are stretches where the movie drags, with scenes that don't add much to the overall story, making it feel bloated at times. On the flip side, some of the more interesting parts of the plot are rushed, leaving you with unanswered questions and unresolved storylines. This uneven pacing makes it even harder for the movie to deliver a cohesive and engaging story. Despite all this, I still think The Deliverance is worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of horror or interested in stories that try to blend horror with social commentary. There are enough moments of real tension and strong performances to make it an interesting, if flawed, experience. The filmmakers clearly aimed high, and while they didn't fully hit the mark, their ambition is something to appreciate. In the end, The Deliverance is a movie that doesn't quite live up to its potential, dragged down by overused horror cliches, tonal inconsistencies, and an unfocused narrative. But thanks to strong performances, some striking visuals, and its attempt to tackle significant social issues, it's still a movie I'd recommend checking out. It's worth seeing, even if it doesn't fully deliver on what it promises.
Hey, I want some chips. No, Mia, you already ate.
E-Toonz. Be creative.
I promise I won't waste your time. Like the light you are, I'll let you shine. I'm so glad God made you mine, baby. I really did good when he made you for me. Dark way in my life, but you light for me. I don't even got no flex, cause you fight for me. No sweat, cause you always get it right for me. I'll be your Superman and I let me protect you. I'ma put you first and I'ma never neglect you. Call me Big Daddy whenever we in the bedroom. Might need to put on a vest, cause I might wet you. Hurt you, I never desert you. Baby, you're a job, I'm trying to work you. I'll give you my all like I'm supposed to. I'm very hands-on and I'ma show you. And I'm glad I took the chance with you, cause I've been thinking you and I can paint a pretty picture. You got me craving for that body like my favorite liquor. And you ain't scared to let them know that you got a nigga. Hey, my ride or die, anybody play with us, it's suicide. Open up your eyes and realize.
Hey, I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing. Also, feel free to check out our other videos as well. And don't forget to click the bell. And always, be creative.